Hello, I'm Alan Fowler from Key West Criminal Defense, where we believe that one bad mistake or wrongful arrest shouldn't ruin the rest of your life. In this video, we're going to talk about plea negotiations and what they are and what you need to know about it. Now, what is plea negotiations? Like so many things in the criminal space, it's not the most descriptive term. The term plea means basically how you are answering the offenses: guilty, not guilty, or no contest. In almost every instance, a defendant is going to plea not guilty so that the government is forced to provide evidence of their guilt and prove it at trial if necessary, right? But nonetheless, that's what a plea is. But that's all balanced against the practical reality, which is there are far too many arrests and too many criminal cases for every single case to go to trial. It just can't happen, right? There's too many. In Key West, for example, there are anywhere between 8 and 10 arrests a day, and that's slow compared to places like Miami or Tampa or Jacksonville. So, but nonetheless, 10 arrests a day is still about 300 arrests a month, and it would be impossible to do that many trials in a month. So as part of the criminal case, the prosecution and the defense will engage in negotiations on how to settle the case, right? So you may be accused of something like a DUI, and the prosecution, if they want to convict you of DUI, would need to go to trial. But instead of having to invest the time and the energy of going to trial, they and your attorney would engage in negotiations for something better than a DUI, right? And that's how these things go. It's very much like any other negotiations that you might have in your life, like buying a car. You go and there's, a sticker price on the car. You look at all the different cars you want, you settle on the one you want, you look at the sticker price, and then you engage in negotiations. Maybe you find out during the course of the negotiations that the dealership wants a certain price because that car has certain features and you don't care about that feature, so you go and find another car in the same color that doesn't have that feature and has a different price type of thing. So it very much is a back and forth where you have to analyze what exactly the prosecution is wanting as part of the agreement, and of course what you want as part of the agreement. And this is what's really important for you to know. For starters, the decision to accept a plea offer is solely 100% within the decision of the defendant. So your attorney cannot make a decision for you, right? The attorney may make plea offers that he or she thinks is fair and may not converse with you about that ahead of time. There might be some discussion, but once there's an offer from the prosecution, whatever shape and form that offer is, your lawyer is obligated to share that with you. But the decision on whether or not to accept that offer is your decision solely. And when a person has a settlement, a plea agreement in court, the judge takes the time to make sure that the defendant is making this decision of their own free will, right? So it's not something that your attorney can force you into or can accept on your behalf without you agreeing to it. It is solely within your decision. And because it's solely within your decision, what you have to look at is how this plea offer is going to impact your life in the short term and long term. Now, at our law firm, we customize every case engagement, every representation, and every set of plea negotiations to the unique needs of our clients. So we really dig in with our clients and we understand where they're at today, where they want to be in the future, and where they're at today and how this case could impact their future, and identify the difference between those two things. And then we craft a strategy to get them through these instances and get their future back on track. Now, As I said, every person is different. This case and the possible outcomes of the case is going to impact your life short-term and long-term differently from person to person. For example, if you're an airline pilot or a commercial truck driver or a taxi driver, getting a DUI conviction and the consequences that flow from that, like a driver's license suspension and so on, that is going to impact your life more significantly than someone who lives in Manhattan, New York, never drives their car, and works in a field where having a DUI won't have any impact on their career, right? To give you another example, I represented someone years ago who was accused of possession of cocaine with the intent to distribute. And initially, I would have thought that their big concern was to not have a felony conviction. That's a pretty big deal for most people, as you might suspect. But when I spoke with my client, he made clear that that wasn't a big deal for him. His big focus was avoiding prison time, because in his case, he worked on his dad's farm, and this is a farm that had been in their family for generations. He was never going to have to get a job in his life. When his dad retires, he would take over the farm, and then his kids will take over the farm. And so he wasn't really worried about having a felony conviction. What he was worried about was avoiding prison time, and also in that particular case, he didn't want a significant delay in the case. My point here is that you are a unique human being, and you're going to have unique circumstances and unique goals and plans for your life that can be impacted in unique ways compared to anyone else. So your lawyer should be mindful of how this case can impact your life, and if he or she is not doing their job, then you may want to find another lawyer. If you engage our law firm, as I said earlier, we truly take the time to get to know our clients, where they're at today, where they want to be in the future, and then we craft a strategy to get them through this and set them up for success. If you have any questions about your case or the case of a loved one, please give our office a call and we'll be happy to give you a complimentary consultation.